Welcome to qualifying here in Mexico, where the cars will be going out on track very shortly and battling it out to secure pole for tomorrow's Grand Prix.
I honestly don't think there's anything better than hearing Crofty's voice being shouted at you at the start of a video. So welcome back, guys, to career mode for F1 2016. This is the Mexican Grand Prix, round number 19. And just after this episode, we've only got 2 episodes left. It's absolutely unreal, the amount of progress we've made in this championship. A video just about every day ever since F1 2016 has come out. This is another opportunity for us to score more points, establish ourselves once again as a force to be reckoned with for Season 2 of this Career Mode Championship. Jumping straight into qualifying here. Friday practice went pretty well. Got all the resource points that we needed to get there or thereabouts. And now we're building that momentum that we started with in practice, taking it to qualifying. We set a banker on the soft compound tyres. You know, went decently. We're in P18 at the moment. And now we're off on the super soft tyres, which will ultimately put us up the order where we need to be. Hopefully around the low teens like we have been qualifying. Hopefully in this session we can out-qualify Pascal as well. That's something that we've been needing to identify in our qualifying session. So hopefully we can out-qualify him today. At the moment we are just about a second up on our previous best lap. So this is going to be an absolute flyer here as we come to the end of this lap. I'm going to spoil it now. I don't find any improvement on this lap going forward for the rest of the session. This was just a absolutely awesome lap that I managed to string together in the mid part of this session. So we'll see where this puts us. Mexico is supposed to be a fairly decent track for us. It's going to be heavy tyre wear. This massively long straight is definitely going to help us in the race. But as we come up to the line, we go to position 6 there. And by the end of the session, a couple cars improved and we got demoted down to 8th. So first time in a very long time where we've actually managed to qualify inside the top 10. And as you can see there on the first page of results, our teammate Pascal Wehrlein is nowhere to be seen. So we have truly outperformed, you know, the capabilities of our car. Maybe this is going to be one of those tracks where I don't know, stronger, more OP versus, you know, the regular tracks in this calendar. So this could be a bit like a Monaco or a Singapore perhaps. But as you can see there, Pascal got an absolutely terrible lap in. No, he's 1.6 seconds off. That's not too bad, but he's down in P20. So not the best lap he got in there. He got a grid penalty for a collision with Jenson Button, and Jenson himself got 2 grid penalties as well for illegal blocking. So that's very interesting. Pascal is down the order a little bit. When we get to the race, he's going to be last. So he's got a lot of work to do for this Mexican Grand Prix.
The air may be thin here in Mexico City. The atmosphere is anything but. The crowd have been chanting and singing, not just this afternoon, but throughout the entire weekend. There's a great love for Formula One here, and no small amount of expectation. Let's hope today's Grand Prix can meet it.
We need you to finish in 13th or higher today.
Finishing in 13th or higher should be pretty easy if you consider, you know, the previous results we've managed to gather over the last 5-6 races. As you can see there, race strategy, super softs, softs, and then mediums. Interesting strategy there, especially when you consider that we're going to get light rain towards the end of the race, and then it's going to go dry again. So when that's going to come about, I'm not too sure. It's definitely going to wreak havoc in this race possibly, but we'll have to wait and see how we go. Starting from 8th place, best qualifying position we've managed in a very long time, and confidence is high. It really is. Heading into this Mexican Grand Prix, hopefully we can come away with even more points in today's race. That'd be absolutely awesome, and it'll be interesting to see where our teammate can find his way in this race. 5 red lights for the 3rd last race of the season, and away we go for this Mexican Grand Prix race. Looks like Kimi Raikkonen got off to an absolute shocker there. Alonso, beastly start, 2 positions off the start line there. He's in P6. For now, we got to find our way through this first corner here. It's always tricky when there's a whole wall of cars in front of you. Ricardo leads the way through the first couple of corners. There's been contact behind us there, and I'm not too sure who was involved there. But the safety car has been dragged out here after just 2 corners in this Mexican Grand Prix. You can see there's a Red Bull and a Mercedes that come together. I believe that was Max Verstappen that came in contact with a Mercedes. I'm guessing it was Lewis Hamilton, because you can see there that Rosberg is still in front of us. So, as you can see here, the Red Bull of Verstappen is in between Vettel and Hamilton there, and he makes contact. It's actually contact with Rosberg. So, for the third race in a row, Rosberg has made contact with another car. The Red Bull goes spinning, and then Lewis Hamilton ran into the side of him there. I don't think Lewis has damage, but I can't 100% confirm that at this stage. So, under safety car conditions, this leads me to believe that the brand new patch has come out, because one of the major updates in the patch was increasing the likelihood of the safety car coming out for big incidents, and that definitely was one on the first lap there. As you can see, we did a little fake move into the pits there. I was really considering coming into the pits there, changing onto mediums or even soft compound tyres to get a free pit stop there, but when I had a look at the track position I was in, I really wanted to stay in 4th place, and it made the decision even better, considering that the leaders didn't stop either. So we're going to continue on here. The race has been resumed here on lap 4, and we're going to fly past Nico Rosberg here. There's the engineer talking in my ear about an alternate strategy, so we'll take that, whatever that is. Round the outside of Ricciardo. Can we make that Sebastian Vettel as well? As we go almost too wide now into the first few corners, Vettel leaves the space, and in just one lap, essentially, we've gone from, where were we, 8th place to 1st, and now leading this Mexican Grand Prix. We've only had about 4 or 5 corners worth of green flag racing, but somehow we managed to find our way to the front here, setting fastest laps in the process. That's not going to last too much longer. That was our first flying lap, and I had massive slipstream on the cars in front of me. So now we're in control of this race. Someone's had an engine failure back there. It's Kimi Räikkönen. No need to have a look at the replay. We saw what happened behind us, so we'll carry on here. Lap 6, Ricciardo sets the fastest lap, then Rosberg. It's a bit of a happy hour at this stage, as Felipe Nasr, was parked off to the side there with some kind of reliability troubles, and this is us on the very next lap. I think this is lap 7. You can see Ricciardo putting pressure on us. The Red Bull, by the way, I haven't mentioned it in the official videos themselves, but Red Bull are now the 2nd fastest car in the pecking order for this season. So Red Bull really making a late charge at the back end of this season to make themselves the quickest car and possibly a championship contender. On the previous lap, Rosberg and Vettel and also Ricciardo. No, Rosberg's coming in now with me. It was Ricciardo and Vettel made the undercut, and so I had to respond on the very next lap, going on to a set of soft compound tyres now for this next stint of the race, so we'll see how the pit stop is.
Go, exit now. We're racing on the exit.
So 3.9 seconds for the pit stop, quite slow. The pit stop itself was fine. It's just the secondary phase there where we got released. We had to wait for Nico Rosberg there, so lost a lot of time there. We could have been in front of Rosberg if the team were a little bit more daring with my release there. But we've got some work to do. We've got to find a way around Rosberg, Vettel, and possibly Ricciardo as well. Hamilton is in front as well. This is just a huge gaggle of cars just, squabbling each other so much. I knew that there'd be trouble on the exit of this little chicane here, and I just took it really slow, picked my way through nice and cleanly and smartly, and we find ourselves in P13. We made up 4 or 5 spots in just a few seconds there because the AI was squabbling so much. So no need to get into a panic. We know we are pretty quick around this track and we have decent straight line speed, so there's no point just firing a move up the inside, just all guns blazing, because we know we have some solid pace around this track. So this is lap 10 now. You can see we're catching up to some guys who have not made their first pit stop here, so it's going to make things very interesting when the race leaders kind of get involved with these guys. So we have Ricciardo, I believe, who is the effective race leader. He's in front of these two, who are going so slow, by the way. No wonder the AI lose so much time when you're just running your own race and just try and get on with things, doing a different strategy, because this is just absolutely ridiculous. The AI can't run side by side through corners and not lose 2 or 3 seconds in the process. Either way, slipstream, DRS, rich revs, let's get in front of these guys and just get that absolute havoc behind us, because we don't need that when we're trying to run our own race and battle with the leaders here. Contact with Sebastian Vettel. That was actually quite wild there. It really did some I don't know, it really made an impact on the force feedback when I was holding the wheel. It really jerked it sideways, had to catch it again, but yeah, we carry on. Vettel gets in front of us. We drop to P10, but I'm not done with him just yet. He's got DRS. I'm still running rich revs. I want to pass him up the inside, and I think we're going to do that. A little bit of a lunge. We get the spot back, and had to shift it down to first gear there on the exit of the next corner. So lap 14 now, you can see the weather is really closing in here. The clouds have really come out of nowhere, and the rain is scheduled to fall down in just a couple of minutes, essentially. The engineer actually asked me on this lap, he told me to pit on that lap for a strategy change, but I was like, no way, it's not wet enough yet, no way. So I decided to stay out for a little bit. I'm just going to play it on a lap-by-lap basis, wait for essentially one of the leaders to react maybe, and then possibly make my decision then to switch on to intermediate tyres. But as you can see, the rain is falling down, and the grip in these last 2 laps has really started to fall away. And there you go, right there. That's just confirmation of what I was just saying. The grip really has started to go out the window. The rain is falling, and I think it's only going to be a matter of time now before we make our stop to go on to intermediate tyres. Now, bear in mind, the engineer 3 laps ago was telling me to change my strategy, go to intermediate tyres. I was like, I wasn't feeling it then, but now that the grip has really started to fall away, tyre wear is coming into it as well, I thought I'd anticipate the change to intermediate tyres and really try and make some gains on the AI here. But when I rejoined on the circuit, the tyres just weren't working for me. The engineer says, come back in, we got a strategy change, come back in for medium tyres. I'm like, Jeff, are you serious? Like, what were you thinking? You told me to come in 5 laps ago now to go onto the intermediate tyres. I come in 3 laps after he suggested to go onto inters. Then when I'm on the inters, he tells me to come back in for dries. I mean, Jeff, can you make up your mind, please? You're the worst engineer I've ever had in an F1 game. It's quite atrocious. Lap 19, was it lap 20? No, it's lap 22. The DRS got disabled, and funnily enough, right as all the AI were pitting in for inters, then it said DRS disabled. So those guys all made this strategy call at the absolute perfect time, whereas I got shafted there with running around on intermediate tyres at a really slow pace, burning up my inters and overheating them there. That's Pascal Wehrlein. You saw him spun off to the side of the track. That's why, contact with the Force India. So it's not been a great day for Mana, to be honest. It's just really fallen away ever since the rain came down. And at this point, it looks like we're probably not going to score points. So we're going to have to do something a little bit drastic. With 10 laps to go, I'm thinking about changing on to another set of intermediate tyres. The rain isn't going anywhere for the rest of this race. So what I'm doing is that I'm anticipating the AI coming in again for a new set of inters. I'm going to get the undercut, get on some fresh inters where I can finally attack, because from the outset on my last set of inters, they were completely shot. Even when it started going to heavier rain, like I didn't have any sting left in the tyres because they were all taken out in those first couple laps in dry conditions. But as soon as I switched on to these new intermediate tyres, I was like absolutely on fire. I was 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster than everyone around me. It was quite incredible how the tyres just switched on like so quickly, and how much more grip there was compared to my previous set. So we rejoin in the action. You've seen, oh no, oh dear. I was going to say, you've seen all the overtakes we pulled off in the last couple laps. We get to Jensen Button, he holds it around the outside there, and for some reason, he thinks it's fine to just stick it in there and take me out. You'll see like how sharp of an angle it was for Jensen. There was no way we were both going to make it through that corner. Jensen, in that position, you've got to yield. But he didn't. He stayed with it. Maybe that's the new aggressive AI in the patch. Maybe that's something we need to account for. But we both spun out there, lost a lot of time there. I'm going to concede a position to my teammate who spun just a few laps ago. And now, after all this, 34 laps of this Mexican Grand Prix, we're last of everyone who is still in this race. So For the final 2 laps here, I took it upon myself to really start pushing, try and catch up with the guys in front of us to essentially not finish last in this race. It was all really just for pride here. End of the race. Romain Grosjean, out of nowhere, has won the Mexican Grand Prix. Our race, though, still isn't over. We're still trying to chase down Ericsson up in front of us, who is going quite slowly in comparison to us. Like I said, pushing as much as I can to catch up to him. Lost the back end there on the curb, and that's it. Our race is over.
Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.
Meanwhile, back on the podium. So there we go, guys. That's been the Mexican Grand Prix. In the end, Romain Grosjean was the ultimate winner of this race. I don't know how he managed that. It must have been down to the one stop. He and Jolyon Palmer, the only one of the one-stoppers there, and looks like it was probably the winning strategy, going from possibly mediums to straight on to the intermediate tyres, and it worked. An absolute treat for those guys. Just unfortunate the way that that race ended. We had a lot of things go against the grain for us, and yeah, we kind of just got caught out there with the crash with Jenson Button. I didn't make the best of strategy calls. I knew it immediately when I switched on to the intermediate tyres. You can see it just wasn't raining heavy enough. And then, yeah, when we tried catching up, tried pushing too hard, and yeah, got on the curb and spun out, and that was the end of our race. It just happens sometimes. Good thing that it did just happen to happen, you know, in the middle of a race where we weren't going to score any points anyway. But in terms of the driver standings, 8th place it is. We've dropped a position to Carlos Sainz, who managed to pick up a few points in today's race. Scrolling down a little further afield, you can see Jolyon Palmer was a massive beneficiary to the one stop today. He gets 12 points. That's 4th place in today's race, and it's crucially moved Renault up to 10th place in the constructors standings. First points for those guys for the season, and man, are those some crucial points. Only Sauber now, the only constructor not to score any points in this 2016 Formula 1 season. But that's been this episode for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm going to bounce back bigger and stronger for the next race, which is going to be the penultimate of this season. Unbelievable when you think about that, that this series is almost coming to an end for Season 1. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys for the next episode of Career Mode, the Brazilian Grand Prix.